I was in a Bible study group up in Princeton, and somehow we got to talking about Plow Creek, and this was a gentleman who had grown up in Tiscawa. I didn't know that he had, but he talked about, we were talking about some of the tension between Plow Creek and the community, and his comment was, well, that was the old Klan families. And I said, oh? He said, yeah, the Ku Klux Klan families. That's why Plow Creek was getting such a hard time. I said, oh, I didn't realize. And he proceeded to name some of the names of the families. I won't mention them. But he said, yeah, he said, I found out about the Klan when I was a young man. I was working in the factory in Princeton, and somebody asked me my name, and I told them my name, and they said, oh, you're famous. And that's all he said, went on. And a while later, the guy made the comment again. He said, well, why am I famous? He says, well, what's your father's name? It was the same. And what's your grandfather's name? It was the same as his. And he said, well, your grandfather was the Grand Wizard of Illinois. And so the Grand Wizard of Illinois lived in Tiscawa. And I really think, when you look at what's happened in Tiscawa, I really think that Plow Creek was very instrumental in breaking some of that history to where here I am sitting in a Bible study with the grandson of the Grand Wizard, and we're sitting there as Christians discussing how poorly Plow Creek was treated. And so I know it's difficult to see the transition away from Plow Creek, but I think there was a mission that was served here by your time. And so I want to thank you on behalf of the Tiscawa community for the impact that this community of believers has had on, I think, this part of the world. So, thank you.
I'm Heather, a friend. I lived at Plow Creek for several years and appreciated it very much.
I'm Sam Ingersoll. I'm one of seven kids. We used to live here associated with Plow Creek back in the 80s. Rich was my mentor. Prayed for me often, which I think worked. Maybe. Really glad to be here to see some of you again that I haven't seen in years. Around one day we were here from 73 to 86.
I'm Esther, and Ed and I lived with Rich and Sarah. We knew them since they dated.
I'm Rebecca. I'm Ed and Esther's daughter, and I feel like Rich and Sarah are like on and on. So I would like to identify as
I'm Ed. I met Richard in '69 in college. We became friends very quickly. Each other the rest of his life.
I'm Hannah, one of his daughters. I'm Bev Fleming Benner, and Tom is my brother, and I was at Plow Creek from 74 to 97. And super good friends with Sarah.
I'm Julia, one of John's mother-in-laws and Louise's wife.
Buenas Luis. I'm Casmin's father and John, father-in-law.
Jasmine. I'm Rich's daughter-in-law.
Donnie Hackworth, son-in-law.
I'm Heidi. I'm Rich's daughter, and yeah, I've been here since 1980. I was born here.
I'm Naveen, and I'm the grandson of Grandpa Rich.
My name is Andre Hackworth, and I'm the grandson of Langston, and I'm the grandson of Grandma and Grandpa.
I'm Aaliyah. I'm a granddaughter of Rich.
I'm Nadia Warabo, and I'm a granddaughter of Grandpa Rich.
We ask that you would bless all of us as we grieve and as we put his remains on the ground today. Okay, I just wanted to read one of Rich's favorites, and this is from Luke. If you are willing to listen, I say, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Pray for the happiness of those who curse you. Pray for those who hurt you. If someone slaps you on one cheek, turn the other cheek. If someone demands your coat, offer your shirt also. Give what you have to anyone who asks you for it. And when things are taken away from you, don't try to get them back. Do for others as you would like them to do for you. I think that speaks a lot of, I think back in '69 when Rich met Ed, Ed was a Mennonite, Rich was a Pentecostal, and they argued, this is my memory of what he told me, they argued for a while about whether or not you should go to war and pick up arms and fight for your country. And this scripture where it says, Jesus directly says to love your enemies. Rich stayed in his room, his dorm room, until he got an answer from God. And the answer that he got was, I cannot love my enemies and shoot them. So that's when he was converted. Thank you, Ed. Great info.
Thanks, Richard, for having the mind. That's boring to think.
So, did you have a scripture you want to read?
I've got it on my phone. My mom asked me this morning, about just thinking of reading that passage, and she said, "Did you have anything?" And I said, "Well, lately I've been reading through Micah, the book of Micah, and one of our sermons at our church was on Micah the other week, and part of it, is a lot of it is telling the Israelites, this is not how you should be living. Don't bring your sacrifices of all these traditions when you don't really mean it and you're not living it out." And so when I think of Dad, I think he really just lived out his faith, and he kind of put his heart in front of the Lord every morning. And so I think that's the best gift, he gave, was just showing us what faith was and what being vulnerable, surrendering to the Lord every day means. No matter the pain and the suffering and the ups and downs of life, because that's what life is. But he found his joy and his hope in the Lord and the Lord alone. And of course that vertical relationship translated into his horizontal relationships with the church and the community, what it means to love one another and lay down your life for each other. So we can have, debates about, theology and things, but really, who knows what we would do at that point, but what we want to do is practice that every day, in every relationship. And I just saw him do that so many times, and community gives you that opportunity because feel their pain, you feel their joy. And so one of the passages that just stood out to me in Micah was Micah 4:3-5. The Lord will mediate between peoples and will settle disputes between strong nations far away. They will hammer their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will no longer fight against nation nor train for war anymore. Everyone will live in peace and prosperity, enjoying their own grapevines and fig trees, for there will be nothing to fear. The Lord of Heaven's armies has made this promise. Though the nations around us follow their idols, we will follow the Lord our God forever and ever. And then one of the best, verses and probably well-known verses in Micah is 6:8. Know, O people, and he's saying this in response to, I don't want these sacrifices of just your, exercises when you don't really take care of each other and love one another. He said, know, O people, the Lord has told you what is good, and this is what he requires of you, to do what is right, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. And so I think that verse just, and at the sermon the other week, that's what the pastor said, like, what would the world look like if Christians actually lived that verse out? And we worked for justice and loved mercy. We're merciful to one another when we mess up and walk humbly with the Lord. So I just want to honor Dad's life because he lived that out and he showed us what that meant and how this eternal love that he gave us.
Here, he had a gentleman from India as a classmate, and somewhere is talking probably about this passage, and one of it said someone asked, give it to him, and this gentleman, that's really crazy and all that, so, well, I want your watch. I went for a few days, and the guy said, okay, have your watch. I don't know if any of you knew that, what he just said.
He could listen. I think he was pretty short on advice. But you knew when you went to talk to him, within 2 minutes he'd be talking about the Lord. So a huge part of his leadership was asking people to listen. Listen to the Lord.
My family was pretty crazy and had a lot of issues. I think my parents got divorced when I was in 8th grade. Larry Smith, who you guys remember, said I kind of turned into a monster, got kicked out of Sunday school class. But Rich was one of my mentors. He was my official mentor for a time, but we played chess. We'd see each other in church, of course, stuff like that. He and the Smiths and other folks, I think, just had a profound impact on me when I didn't have the kind of support that I really needed at home. My own family today is a little messed up, and I always reflect back on that time and try to keep my children similarly in relationships with other really positive, supportive adults to make up for what I'm still lacking. And I don't remember him talking about the Lord as much as I remember just feeling really supported. Like I was a great kid. Like somebody genuinely cared about me, no matter what I was going through. He thought I was terrific. He thought I was a great guy, and that I would make it someday. And that was really important to me, and I've never forgotten that. Also, I know you've expressed a lot of your grief on Facebook and stuff. I do see that. I can't even access that part of myself, really. It's really hard for me to even just go there with anything. And so I think the love that you express in that grief is recognized. I see it. And that, like I said, I don't know how to get there, but it's powerful. It's really powerful and it's inspiring. And so I want to thank you for that and passing that on.
He had been dealt a really rough year in a lot of ways in life. But I remember all the time growing up, I would wake up, and whenever I'd wake up, he was always awake before us. He'd wake up at like 4 in the morning, and we'd go read the Bible, we would journal, and get everything that he needed to get out. He would also say prayers for everybody who was on his prayer list. You know, so he was praying for her for years before he met her. And that's the thing that he did in his ritual, that he was able to empty his own plate where he then could pay attention so well to everybody else. I think I had talked to him at one point of, you know, how, because he's a talker by nature, you know, we gave him room, he would keep going and keep talking, but his listening ability was always very impactful, and he was very good at it. And I had asked him about it one time, and I think that's what he said, is that his practice of how he let everything go in the morning allowed him to take everything through the day and not be overrun. And I feel like that sometimes, you know, through work and business, where I don't have enough to listen to somebody else's problems at, you know, certain points of the day. And I think about his commitment and his practice, the way he lived his life and how he was able to consciously love, you know, on a daily basis.
A year ago, and up until I left, and I'd have to check with the new administrator there to see, but our phone system saves voicemails, and you can save them, I mean, until you physically delete them. And the one that was the oldest was, "Hello Phil, Rich Foss here." And I would go back and listen to that every once in a while, just because it was such a reassuring sound. So I imagine Lynn has deleted it, not knowing who Rich is, but it was a comforting reminder.
Since he left us, although I just felt so much like he was a part of who I am, and he's here with me now. Might have been a year or two after he died, I was at some sort of seminar, and they were talking about different levels of listening, and I became acquainted with the term transformative listening. And I was like, oh, there's a word for it. That's what he was. Transformative listener. And I think with gratitude, there was that same sort of power, because he was always marveling about whatever it was that he was just so grateful for. And that gratitude was transformative, and I think it touched us all. Thankful for that.
In a situation like this, when you feel drops, all this rain and water, it's a sign of the blessing of the Lord.
and all that cold eagle said. Gave me hope when I had no hope at all. Your light penetrated the thickest prison wall. In dying, you did for me what I could not do for myself. And in your rising, you broke the powers of hell, and all that cold evil spell.
Johnny.